Maswera say muri Zimbabwe, welcome to our channel. Apa nopa ina udzenge chiti kama tiumana nyika yedu ya Zimbabwe. Tingoti kana kari tanga kukwea pa nino channel, please don't forget to subscribe. Kama chingwa gara waka subscribe, don't forget to comment and share this video. Tena wata kuligira mzwara nasi. Now, yabudi tukwa ipunzi President Emerson Dambuzo Mnangagwa has authorized the assassination of Vice President Constantine Chiwenga, which is if anything happens, Hazvina Mnangagwa should be held responsible. Now, we are one of my excuses we are handle the president anti-2030. Abuda Starayachiti Emerson Mnangagwa has authorized the assassination of VP Chiwenga. Should anything happen to the vice president, Mnangagwa shall be held responsible for this act. Hazvina Kupera Mushe muri Zimbabwe nuzora nasi kwaswera zvakare kune makunga angachitenderera ekuti there was an assassination attempt on Vice President Constantine Chiwenga. Tisingazivi kuti inyaya yechokwadi here kana kuti one of my political activists anonzi Lynn Stacia abuda on X yendo achitaura iye achiti another failed assassination attempt on VP's life on 17/04/26. Albert Tizwa, military intelligence officer, Presidential Guard Harare region, who was supposed to be busy at the Independence Day celebration in Mapisa, but instead was busy running Kubakwake's dirty errands. Tizwa is supervised by Brigadier General Monda, and he was caught in Newlands carrying a bag of money coming from the offices of Kubakwake, the Temu president. The money has been confiscated and he is under arrest and investigation. Tizwa was resisting arrest from the ZRP crack team and he pulled out an AK-47. In law, the officer of his rank is supposed to be in possession of a pistol, not an AK-47. The information with V11 indicates that he was on a mission to assassinate VP Chiwenga and General Osanyatwe with instructions coming from his handlers. Both Kubakwake and his sidekick, Brigadier General Monda, he has been trying to force the police to release him to no avail, thanks to Commissioner of Police Mutamba for heeding the call of duty. Temu president has crossed the Rubicon, and I wonder what he is hoping to achieve with this. Tizwa is the same guy who led the beating of Professor Maduku during the CAP 3 consultations, which was one of the 24 operations assigned to him by his handlers, the Temu president and his sidekick Monda. For more news, stay tuned at Basikoro News, the champions of beckoning future Zimbabwe. Mabudidziro atwa nyaya muri Zimbabwe tisingazivi kuti nyaya dzechokwadi dziri kutenderera idzi kana kuti tiudziwo zvamuri kufunga pamusoro penyaya iyoyi mu comment section.
That's not what we're saying, Mercy. We are saying that the institution that the president needs to build his legitimacy, which is ZANU-PF first and foremost, and then the nation, we need to stop being complicit and we need to challenge him. So ZANU-PF can challenge the position of the president, his non-election, and his eligibility for him to be going for a 2030. That can be challenged within ZANU-PF successfully, and it can be stopped there. So this is not involving the executive. It is
But when we
using the
start to
system.
speak of
It
an
is
ignorance,
using the
Banana
institution.
Nemkan. Okay, I'll let you land and then you come in.
The president of Zimbabwe has legitimacy because of ZANU-PF. And for him to be legitimate in ZANU-PF, he has to be elected by the Congress of ZANU-PF. And that hasn't happened for him to be talking 2030. So why are you not talking to ZANU-PF to say this process has not been completed? This person has not been accepted. The resolution being used has not been coming from Congress. So there should be already a null and void, or at least an ultra virus challenge to what has been done by a central committee that has not been elected properly, with individuals that are not supposed to be there, who are making laws now for the nation and pushing things through cabinet into an amendment to the constitution that is ultra virus because it's already null and void from ZANU-PF itself. We need to look at all those processes that challenge the institution that gives the legitimacy. Talking about the presidency does not mean anything because the presidency needs us to accept. He needs us to acquiesce to what it is that he's doing. And if ZANU-PF says we don't acquiesce to your decision to try and go to 2030, yet we haven't elected you, that automatically means that what he's doing becomes void. if we as the citizens also then say, before we even start talking about that, let's look at the process that you've used to try and push your amendment. And we challenge that with the report that Majome gave us. Those are the practical things we can do. And you yourself said, Woza women went to court in Rhodesia. I mean, sorry, no, not Woza women. Woza women went to court in Zimbabwe. When the court in Zimbabwe did not give them decisions, they went out to the African Council of Human Rights and People's Rights. We have to now use those very same processes. Finish the internal processes. If the internal processes don't give us decisions, we go out. Those are the practical things we can do. Otherwise, what you are then needing to discuss is, are you willing to go on the road? I think we all know the answer to that. People are not willing to go on the road. So let's talk about what we can practically do rather than to build pies in the sky.
Right. So basically, you are talking about going to the genesis of it all. That ZANU-PF needs to put its house in order. ZANU-PF needs to stop whatever it is that is happening around the president. The creation of these affiliates, the creation of these people who are now surrounding the president, who are now making decisions on behalf of a political party that is supposed to be the driver in making such decisions. And you're saying that we need now to to call for a reset of everything, where ZANU PF becomes the arbiter, or becomes the entity that controls everything and wrestle whatever power that has been abrogated to all these other individuals who are now surrounding the president. Take the power away from those, and when we get back to ZANU-PF following its constitution, then this thing here that we're talking about will be dead in the water.
And we do that while we're also challenging it in the other ways as well, through challenging the processes of the consultation, challenging CAP 3 and how it's being implemented, challenging the fact that they want to pass it through the parliament without going for referendum. We do all these things parallel, but influence ZANU-PF as well, because at the end of the day, I think they've got the keys to unlock this, and we know they're dissatisfied. Hence, Temba Mliswa is fuming every day about how members of ZANU-PF and senior members of ZANU-PF and the structures of ZANU-PF are not supporting CAP 3. Take advantage of that disgruntlement. Take advantage of the firing of the CIO head, and the head of a chapter 12 institution, because it shows that there's fracture within the institution itself, within ZANU-PF itself, within its inner circles itself, and within its government institutions. Take advantage of that, because clearly there is a discord and a division within that we are not currently taking advantage of.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much, Marcy. Can I give you 2 minutes, to say what you want to say, and then I want to ask Mangisi, to